Okay, happy Friday, everyone. Now, before I begin this video, I do my low, my high, my active kindness. I normally do my low first, but I'll do my high, my active kindness because my low is rather serious. My high and my active kindness are both the fact that I hung out with my mom and my dad last night, and I actually helped them with shopping. We went to Sam's Club, and I helped them get a few things. It was great. And then went to Five Guys for dinner. Five Guys. That was really good. We actually tried going to, seriously, the last 2 nights, especially my dad and I, we've been trying to go to Charlie's, but like Wednesday, Charlie's was completely understaffed, so no going there. And we tried going there last night, but this is like close to 8 o'clock and Charlie's closes at 8 o'clock, so they were doing like to-go orders only, like, yeah, we didn't want to do that. So, Five Guys it was. And I believe I said in the previous video that whenever I go to Five Guys, I have my burger all the way. So there you go. That's how I do Five Guys. And it says all the way. You go all the way, man. Okay, that's just how it is. Although, in case anyone's wondering, on Wednesday we went to Moe's. That's a Southwest Mexican place. It's a chain. It's good. I had the home record burrito, but you know. Man, I haven't been to Charlie's in forever. I used to love going to Charlie's. And don't worry, I'll go back to that again eventually. But now I gotta get to my low. Oh yeah, right. A part of my high also was Hot Ones yesterday. I am gonna be talking about that, but I gotta talk about something serious real quick. And I'm sure it's been all over the internet at this point, but yesterday during the game, which, yes, I got the pick wrong. I'll own that one. But to Tua Tagovailoa, I really hope you are doing well. You know, what happened to you yesterday was horrible. I feel so bad. I really hope you make a recovery, because if you don't know, when the Dolphins beat the Bills near the end of that game, Tua got, well, he wasn't sacked per se, but he basically essentially got shoved and he fell to the ground. And then when he got up, he started getting all wobbly and everything. And at that point, he should have been in concussion protocol. But I believe he finished out the game, I think. I forget. And he should have been on concussion. He really shouldn't have played this week after what happened. But he played this week and he got sacked pretty badly. Like, his hands kind of looked like this kind of when he was done. Like, it was pretty gruesome. And you guys are probably wondering, well, Nick, you just mentioned that all that happened last week is that he got shoved. How could that cause him to get all wobbly when he gets up? Well, for one thing, even back in college, Tua was very injury prone. So you kind of could have seen this coming. But in the case of what happened in this particular instance, even though he was just simply shoved and fell to the ground, it was the whiplash of him landing when he did like that and then went back up. And that's what caused him to get a slight concussion. Or that should have put him on concussion protocol. Because anyone will tell you, if you move your head back and forth in that sort of rapid-fire motion like that, under any circumstance, you're going to feel sick. At least you're going to feel sick. So, to Tua Tagovailoa, I really hope that you make a speedy recovery, because, I mean, any NFL fan will tell you that the NFL is only great when all of its best are out there, and, you know, we need you out there. I mean, I'm a little mad that your Dolphins beat my Bills last week, but I put that aside for now. You know, here's hoping that you make a speedy recovery. And I just hope this doesn't spell gloom and doom for the Dolphins. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want the Bills to win the division. But the Dolphins are really good. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. In the meantime, how about I try and lighten the mood by talking about Hot Ones? So, Hot Ones Season 19 kicked off and probably one of the best season openers I've ever seen. I'm being serious. This is probably one of the best season openers I've ever seen. I mean, I knew David Blaine was going to be a good guess. Again, I'm still surprised they got him. I mean, it really does just, again, this just proves that anyone is fair game when it comes to being on Hot Ones. Which I would totally do if people first be asked. I'm only kidding. Oh, I'm not kidding. I would do it if they definitely asked, but if they want me to, if they want me to come, they will come to me themselves. Simply put. Although, if I go or not, I will definitely wear that like a badge or everything. I'm getting sidetracked. So, this was actually a very, very interesting season opener in a lot of ways. Because, to my knowledge, I don't think Hot Ones has ever had really any kind of magician as a guest, but especially a magician or illusionist of this caliber. Because, yeah, David Blaine is known for doing magic, but he's also done a lot of, death-defying things. I mentioned that, he set the world record for holding his breath underwater the longest. That really is just the tip of the iceberg. And they went over this throughout the episode as well. Especially when they explained that Graham where he spent like a week underwater or something. And he talked about how he didn't know this, but when you're underwater for that long, your hands and your feet just look completely they look inhuman. It's freaky. And he was under unbearable pain. So, needless to say, David Blaine has more cojones than I do. That's for sure on that one. And here's one interesting question. Oh, there's a couple questions that are really interesting. One question in particular was, obviously these are death-defying stunts he's doing. It is. And there's a lot of risk involved, and there's, a danger, threat, whatever have you. Sean asked what's the most fun he's ever had doing one of them? And David Blaine actually kind of said the answer that, he really said the best kind of answer for this. Because he said, they were all so much fun. And it takes a special level of dedication to your craft in which every single one of these things that you do, it's worth doing, it's worth the risk. He absolutely loves doing what he's doing, whether it's, being underwater for, a week or holding your breath for 17 minutes or, ascending up into the air with gigantic helium-filled balloons. Whatever's your poison. He loves doing it. At the end of the day, it really does show that at the end of the day, he is a guy who loves to do what he loves to do. And speaking of death-defying stunts, he completely demolished the Wings of Death, man. I was like, this guy is barely, the bum is kind of getting him a little bit, but honestly, he is owning these wings. You wouldn't believe. Sean asked him, how you feeling? He's like, fantastic. Really? I've seen plenty of guests on Hot Ones, Guy Fieri being one example, of handling the Wings of Death with a lot of composure. But David Blaine might be the first guy I've ever seen take on the Wings of Death and not only, not flinch, but feel really enthused by it. He legitimately loved to do this. That is a level of respect that I personally gotta give credit where credit is due, man. That is incredible. Another question that Sean asked him was, Obviously, because David Blaine does what he does, he's been on TV a lot. What's his most memorable TV moment? And keep in mind, I know who David Blaine is, but I've never actually seen him on TV or anything. Or I know he has like a show in Vegas and stuff like that, but I personally, and I'll get to the show because Sean asked him regarding a show, especially about David Copperfield in a minute. But Sean asked him like what was his like most memorable moment on TV, and it's just so funny because it's like something you would probably see on like a cartoon where David Blaine walks up to this one kid, right? And basically puts like a little coin on his on the back of this kid's hand. Puts his hand over that and the coin disappears. And the kid's just like, cool. Like, there's no shock, no amazement, just like, cool. Like, this is a legitimately great thing you're bearing witness to that is like right in front of you, and you're barely doing anything in terms of a response. That's funny. That's really funny. I like that. Again, it's like something you would see out of a cartoon. It's great that way. Although speaking of, tricks, because obviously Sean asked him about the fact that he has a show in Vegas. I forget what the question was, but the answer to the question is because all the famous musicians, they know each other. And David Blaine was talking to David Copperfield one time. And David Copperfield told him that he does 3 shows every Saturday and 2 shows every other day of the week. And about 650 shows a year, roughly. 650 shows a year, huh? That's a pretty big number. And Dave was like, why do you have so many shows? And then, wow, I just realized they're both named Dave. Dave's not here. Anyway. So David Blaine asked David Copperfield, like, why do you have all these shows? And then David Copperfield told him, it takes 500 shows to get a new trick I'm working down right. And 1,000 shows to have completely mastered it. So basically, those 650 shows a year, he's basically just getting the trick down to begin with. Which, that is legit dedication to one's craft. It actually alludes to what I mentioned earlier about David Blaine mentioning how all the death-defying acts he did are fun. Like, he just loves doing what he loves to do. It's great. Of course, don't worry. I wouldn't talk about this particular episode of Hot Ones without talking about the last dab question. Oh, actually, there's one more question that was really cool. Apparently, there's like some guy, because like one trick that David Blaine wanted to be able to do was like drink a gallon of water and spit it out like that. There's so many questions I gotta ask. Like, they tried finding this one, like, the guy who could do it is like in Africa, but then later, after like years of finally finding him, well, after years, they do finally find him and they get the trick down. And then David Blaine's neighbor walks up to him and is like, I can do that exact same thing. That is also funny. But no, if you watched Hot Ones yesterday, you know exactly what I was saving for the end. So obviously for the last dab, they wanted to end with something special. And first of all, I love how Sean mentioned that we should have David Blaine open every season. And sure, I'll go with that. I'd love to be able to. I want to see David Blaine again on Hot Ones. Sure. Especially when he took down the entirety of the Wings of Death without batting an eye. But then there was the last dab. where David Blaine actually performed a trick where he took where he had like a how did it go? Where like David Blaine had his phone, and then it was a smartphone. He split the phone apart, and there were 2 Carolina Reapers in the case of the phone. He took out both of the Carolina Reapers and put them in front of Sean. Now, obviously, if you've been watching Hot Ones for as long as I have, you know about Sean's legendary video where he and Chili Klaus ate Carolina Reapers. So obviously, they were going to do that here. But before that happened, David asked Sean to pick one of the 2 peppers that he was going to eat, right? Now, after because Sean picked one, and David's like, "Are you sure?" It's like, "No, I'll do that one." "Are you sure?" "No, I'll do this one." "Are you sure?" "No, I'll keep this one." And so, David asked Sean pick a card, any card, as any magician will tell you to do. So he picks his card. I believe it was a king card, but I forget which suit it was. Maybe it was, but it was a red card. I know that. So it was either a diamond or a heart. So either the king of diamonds or the king of hearts. Okay. So David Blaine rips the corner off of the piece of the card, and he eats that piece of the card. He then takes the Carolina Reaper that Sean picked out, cut it open. There was the piece of the card that he ripped off inside of the Reaper. I mean, to see it from a computer screen is one thing. I can't even imagine just the level of sheer wow factor, for lack of a better word, that Sean was experiencing in that moment. And after that, they both ate the Carolina Reapers. And remember how I said that David Blaine handled the wings of death pretty handily? It was the exact same thing with the Reaper too. Because David Blaine is like, not even batting an eye. Which, I mean, David Blaine mentioned that he handles spicy food, but again, this is the first time I've ever actually seen anyone not only handle the wings, but do that with such enthusiasm. And, you know, obviously it's a Carolina Reaper. Sean Evans is dying because it's a Carolina Reaper. And he's like, "How are you doing?" He's like, "Fantastic." So, again, Sean Evans mentioned that David Blaine should open every season of Hot Ones. I'll take that, sure. This is a great episode. You know, this is a great way to kick off a new season. And it's a great way to you know, because again, we're in that transition to the end of 2022. And I just realized today's the last day of September. As of right now, we are essentially 3/4 of the way through 2022. And between yesterday's episode of Hot Ones and the fact that Horseheads has homecoming tonight, the final quarter of this year, it's getting me hyped. Then again, I will admit I am still kind of riding the high of the wedding that I was just at this last weekend. But this was just a good week. Not perfect, but didn't have to be. But it was, pardon the language, it was pretty damn good. I'll take that any day of the week. Just like I hope that you liked this video, and if you did, leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do my YouTube channel greatly. As always, follow me on social media. I am very humble in this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. And hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday. And remember, if you guys want to talk to channel, we're going to be here to lend you all. So everybody, take care and make good choices. Although before I sign off, I don't have access to Disney Plus, and not that I was going to watch it, but I know Hocus Pocus 2 comes out today. I can only imagine how crazy the internet is going to be with Hocus Pocus memorabilia. Take care.